all of the beautiful writers.
Hmm.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is fantastic to have you today on the Writer's Bridge. We are so glad you are here. I'm going to hit the mute all button, which means that my co host and our guest will need to unmute themselves again. And welcome. As we are in our minute of pre show here, I want to encourage you, drop into the chat, let us know what are you currently writing, and do you have a website? Yeah, you have a website.
Allison, you are muted.
Unmute. There we
That
go.
was my
Sorry
fault.
about
I
that.
apologize.
All good, all good. So let us know in the chat, what are you writing? And do you have a website? If you have a website, are you happy with it? Is it doing what you need it to do? Are you worried about having a website? Are you thinking having a website is insanely expensive? Yep, Carolyn says she's writing nonfiction and she's going to redo all of it. Fantastic. Awesome. So, yeah, let us know in the chat. What are you writing? And do you have a website? Is it a functioning website? Are you still working on getting a website? How is that going? And we are going to get started in just a moment here. Fantastic. Sharla, you've got eyes on the waiting room?
I sure do.
Fantastic. So, welcome everybody to the Writer's Bridge. We love you. You are our favorite community, and we are so glad that you are coming to spend this time with us today. Do you actually need a website, or is social media enough? Well, a website is the one piece of your author platform that you actually own. And it might be the most underused sales and discovery tool we have. I don't know about you guys, but my website tends to kind of languish because I forget to go update it because it's kind of a pain to do that. Our special guest today knows all about author websites and how you can make one in 5 minutes, polish it in under an hour, and keep it going for $8 a month, or with our special offer today, $7 a month, which I think is a pretty good deal. We're going to talk about.
Sorry,
Oh,
Allison, you have to unmute again.
that's okay. It's all good. We're going to talk about her business and other website options as well as why the heck you really do need a website and what the heck you should be doing with it. But first, hey, Sharla, what's coming up with Craft Talks webinars?
Hello, everybody. Allison, feel free to mute me multiple times during this. Sorry about that. Yes, okay. We've been asked multiple times for this one. So tomorrow, I'm happy to say that we have Nature Writing Reimagined, Cultivating Observation and Connection in Every Genre with Megan Baxter. And if a 90-minute webinar isn't enough to nature out here, Megan is also teaching a 3-week course, an intensive with the same theme. I'm going to put both those links in the chat. Allison, what's coming up for you?
I am super excited. I have two webinars coming up in August. August 12th, I am teaching Writing That Breaks the Rules for Craft Talks. You know, we hear all these laws like memoir has to be in first person and cut all your adjectives. And really, we do not have to follow those every time. So we're going to look at why are they rules and how can we instead make them choices that serve our own writing. And on August 16th, I'm doing a deep dive webinar, Making a Newsletter Work for You with HippoCamp. This one is live only with feedback on your newsletter plans. It's limited to 20 people. I think there are currently 10 seats left, and I will drop the link to both of those into the chat. Hey, Sharla, who is our fabulous guest?
Lynda, it's Hames, correct?
Hamas.
Hamis. I don't need to make it more complicated than it is. It's the visionary and co-founder of Tertulia, a groundbreaking platform redefining online book discovery and community. Her extensive career spans media and publishing, where she served as a journalist, a successful magazine publisher, including her tenure as publisher chief revenue officer at Foreign Affairs, and a consultant in brand strategy and growth marketing. Hamessa's deep understanding of content, audience engagement, and digital innovation fuels Tertulia's unique approach to fostering a vibrant ecosystem for readers and authors alike. Welcome, Lynda. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Sharla. That was really kind. And thank you, Allison and Sharla, for having me. I can tell already from the chat that you guys have an incredible community here.
We are so yeah, this is an amazing community. We've been doing the Writers Bridge for 5 years now. It started out every other week. Now it is monthly, and it's really been one of the best things that's ever happened to me as a writer and as part of a writing community. Lynda, you spent your career in media and publishing before you co-founded Tertulia, which we're going to talk about more in a minute. So journalism, foreign affairs, brand strategy. What did you discover that actually makes readers pay attention?
So, my career has spanned a very big kind of shift in the ecosystem of how we consume information and what business model empowers that. And that shift was the revolution in paid content. So, when I was, starting out my career, there was still, advertising was still primary in the media world rather than paid content. We were not filled with subscription fatigue like we are today. In fact, we were in the information wants to be free era with the internet growing and everybody assuming they got content for free. And over those decades in which I worked, I would say I was training for what I'm doing now, I guess, in some ways, and learning that content doesn't actually want to be free, one. Two, uh, content, when you want to play a song, right? It's not a big commitment. You go on Spotify and you play it for a few seconds or YouTube, and then you walk away and you might play something else. But with content and thinking in our attention-strapped economy, and especially with books that are expensive and they take many hours to read, hours that are competing with everything else, you that's a big commitment. And so, what I have seen over those years with that attention strapped economy, world where we were trained not to pay for it, relationships and trust are everything. So, you mentioned foreign affairs. When I was publisher of foreign affairs, we were very, very early on as a media company charging people for content, and we were religious about it. And it was expensive. It was like, we're treating this like a book. And you know what? You're going to pay for it because the expert approach on what's happening in Iran is worth it beyond the headlines, right? And that was kind of like, it was like actually a bit radical to have a paywall, right? I mean, that's how old I am. Now everybody has a paywall, but learning all those dynamics. So it was about relationships, right? Doing emails where people were drawn in and they were actually willing to come pass through the paywall and enter the temple of paid content. And so creating that relationship and that relationship of trust, and it is going to be worth it for you, and you are going to want to pay for this, was kind of my ground kind of religion in the media world. Come to books, and it's like a little bit full circle, right? Because books were not free. You always expected to pay for them. Ironically, now many authors are giving them away, especially indie authors, in order to start that sampling process. And that's a really great strategy. But ultimately, what you want to do is make a living from your writing. And so, how do you get people to actually want to pay? And whether that pay is take up space in your inbox with signing up for an email, or pay, meaning actually purchase your book or buy it for somebody else or recommend it to somebody else, it's about relationships and trust. That was a long answer, but that's what I got for you.
And I love that idea of we're going to make you pay for it because we know it's worth it. I mean, so often as writers, a lot of our community building is of necessity free. I mean, I've been showing up for the Writers Bridge for free for quite a few years now. Could we go subscription? I don't want to, but I do think we're delivering something of value. And I think that's a really good thing for writers to weigh.
Absolutely.
So you're now the co-founder of Tertulia, and Tertulia does two different things, right? One of them is the author website. What else does it do?
Yes. So when we started out coming out of the pandemic, we wanted to create a delightful place to discover and purchase books. We didn't think that Amazon was a delightful place for that. We think it's an easy place and a fast place and a cheap place to buy your toilet paper, your Roomba, or whatever. And so we did not think that the romance of books should live there. And we built a discovery platform for authors, where we helped authors discover their next favorite book through an onboarding process, daily picks for them, but notably also pulled in conversations around the internet from podcasts and Instagram mentions, et cetera, to give context around the book. And we are still running that business, and we have a growing membership in our co-op. We have a consumer co-op, for those of you who don't no consumer co-ops. REI is the best example. You pay a membership fee and you get benefits for that. So you get free shipping, you get up to 20% off books. And notably, you're part of this community, come to events, get invitations to events, et cetera. And about 2 years ago, we took a step back and, authors were always a big part of what we were doing on the bookstore side. We did hundreds and hundreds of pre-order campaigns. We're always thinking, how do we work authors more into this? Like, readers love hearing what authors have to say. The only user-generated content we ever ran was from authors. Like, how do we kind of put them at the forefront of our content strategy? And we kind of noticed some things when we were doing pre-order campaigns with them. We noticed that when they promoted their book on social media, they did not sell as many copies as when they sold on email. So there's lots of things we noticed, but that was like one thing we noticed. And we thought, deeply about that. Like why, what they have a huge audience on social in some cases. But when they would send out an email and we would push them towards doing that, they would actually have this kind of more of a relationship, right? And today, fast forward, I think the last 2 years and maybe more, people have become definitely more the algorithms in social are more dubious. People don't know if their work is being seen. People are more accustomed due to the rise of Substack and other things, knowing that they should build their email list. But we were kind of like, well, let's dig into this a little bit. Like, why can't they or don't want they want to build their list? And what we came up with was we're going to use our world-class tech team to develop some tools that will help them to own that audience. Whether that's an email list, ultimately that is something we believe very much in. We've invested a lot in helping to enable authors, or is it just their home base? I mean, there was authors who didn't have websites at all, or they had terrible websites. Many of the people on this chat are saying the same, and they're putting all this effort into writing. And so we said, well, we're going to build these tools and we're going to make it so that there are a few principles in mind. One is that they're easy because the world of it's a very low tech world for a reason. You should not need to wrestle with WordPress templates or plugins if you're trying to write, right? Make it as easy as possible. Two, not have a lot of different subscriptions you have to weave together because you're not like a marketing hack, sort of growth hacker person. You're a writer, right? I'm sure everyone's probably nodding at this. And then thirdly, author forward, meaning your platform, your brand, make it easy for you to own, whether that's the brand, the audience, the customization. You don't want to have your newsletter sign up on your page. We make it easy for you to turn off. We don't recommend that, but it's super flexible. So we set out to create software to meet those needs, including, speaking to this explosion in self-publishing that's happening, as well as traditional and indie authors. So we serve all authors. We have World National Book Award winners using our platform. We have lots of indie authors. We have authors that have never published a book on our platform. Okay. So the first thing we built was a website builder where you put in your ISBN and your Instagram handle optionally. We generate your kind of initial draft, and then you can kind of bolt things onto that. Then we knew that our end game was to allow authors to sell direct and email to their customers. Again, all tools in one, right? So you don't have to also have a Shopify or an Etsy shop or MailerLite and MailChimp. We want you all in one. So we built that website builder, and then we have gone on to improve that tool so that it becomes a storefront. It's your email sender. It's your growth, your reader magnet that you sent out, et cetera. So I'll stop for a minute and see if you want to follow on questions to that.
So let's wind it back just a little bit. So and I love how much this is organized around, yes, as authors, we do need to learn to do some marketing. We're going to have to write some emails. We're going to have to, have an online presence. But at the same time, we shouldn't have to learn all of the stuff about marketing because we don't want to be a marketer. And yes, to those in the chat who are asking, we are going to show some samples on the screen as well. And we'll show you what it looks like to build one. But let's wind it back just a little tiny bit. Lynda, does a new author, someone who may not even have a book finished yet, do they need a website? And should they just build an audience on social media first? What do you think?
Great questions. Okay, so just to piggyback on the last thing you said, I want to be clear. I don't mean to be condescending because there are some authors that are unbelievably much better marketers than me, and I've been spending my career doing this. I'm not writing books, right? So it's not so much that I don't think they can or should do marketing if that's what they choose to do and not hire somebody or work with a trad publisher. It's more the time. It's like this day and age, like this should be easy, right? Like don't worry about the low tech. So I just wanted to clarify that. Yes. So Allison asks, do you even, maybe you're at the beginning, you're working, you have the manuscript. Maybe you don't even have a manuscript yet. Should you have a website? In my opinion, you should have a website the moment that you believe and plan to publish a book. Now, what should that website have on it and why? And how does social fit into that? What the website should have on it is your email capture. Even if you don't have a newsletter yet, no stress.
And quick side note on that, this is a great question from Nancy in the chat. Who owns the email list if you're running your email through Tertulia? Who owns
You
the
own the
notes?
email list. You own it. You take it with you if you ever leave us, which you won't. But you take it with you. You can import it, your own list, and you can export. So you own it. You'll see this in the demo. But yes, email, email, email. Like start building that list. You've got your bio. You've got your picture. You've got the basics, right? And what's an email capture? Somebody asked in the chat. Just like a sign up form. Just a sign up form. Sign up for news and updates. Sign up for occasional updates. I promise I won't spam you. If you don't have a newsletter, no stress. Just start that process because you're going to be glad later if you point people to your site and you have that growing list, right? In terms of social media, and by the way, like in terms of search optimization and now the world of answer engine, ChatGPT optimization, you got to start somewhere, right? You put down your roots and Google indexes your site. And so you want to work on a platform that is going to, sorry, I got distracted because somebody in the chat mentioned one of my favorite authors, Lynda, and he is on our platform and he has literally hundreds of books that he imported automatically into Tertulia. He is a big deal. Yeah. You want to be search optimized, you want to be in a platform that's going to take care of that for you. And then in terms of social media, should you also be on social? Why not just grow your following on social? My opinion is you should do both. If you are an introvert, you hate social, maybe you don't want on, face on camera, like that's a whole nother session that I'm sure Allison and Sharla will do with you. But we have done also in our community sessions on this. Okay, like that is your decision to choose what channel you are comfortable with in terms of getting out there to your community of interest, right? And your community of interest might be romantasy readers, or your community of interest might be, I don't know, like how to do, some deep craft interest in nonfiction or, self-help, whatever your community of interest is. You figure out where you want to thrive in that social environment. Personally, I do think that is important. Not everybody is up for that, so they have to find other ways to hack their audience and email if they want to sell copies. And there are ways to do that. There are live events. There are things like this. There are other authors.
So we've got a couple of questions in the chat, and it kind of ties into one of the things I wanted to ask, which is, what do you write in your bio when your book's not finished yet? And we've had a couple of people ask, do you need to have a published book, like in general, before you have a website? And do you have to have an ISBN to use your site, which we'll come back to? So we'll circle back to that one. But do you have to have a published book before you have a website?
All great questions. I do not think you need to, absolutely not. You do not need to have a published book before you have a website. In fact, many, many, many authors, especially super enterprising indie authors or authors with small publishers who don't have like a lot of heavyweight marketing behind them, they are using the process of updating their site and bringing people back to them to share the publishing experience. So you want to be up there first to do, let's say, a cover reveal, a sneak peek, updates on your book. You're building, it's like marketing 101 is like building excitement, right? So no, absolutely do not need to have a book before you have a website. I would recommend that before you're even like just the moment you think that you are going to publish, like literally in a year from now, you should have your website. Second question was, what do you put in your bio? Be yourself. right? So again, like what's the relationships that you want to build? Like if you're in, if you're an obsessed romantasy reader and you're writing your first romantasy debut, you talk about that, who you love, like, I stay up too late every night reading X and Y and Z names, or where do you live? What do you do? What do you care about? Who you are? Speak to your community of future readers.
And
Keep it
if you are
simple.
a novelist, you probably want to talk on that site about what's your genre and what do you love reading. And if you are
Exactly.
a memoirist, you want to talk about your unique story and experience that is why you're writing this book to begin with. And, speak to the community who you want to be connecting with already, whether that is people who love dinosaur romance or people who really need to know about raising a child with an addiction. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So bear,
Totally. Speak to your audience. And I think somebody in the chat said that they are writing a memoir about their mother who was an early LSD user and involved in a cult. And okay, we don't all have that interesting story I mean, I'm like, sign me up. Like literally, I'll sign up for your email list because I want to follow that story. And so, hook somebody, right? You either hook them or you speak to the things they care about. And I think what you said, like, if you're a child, psychologist and you're going to be writing self-help for parents, like, eventually, and we'll get into this in terms of blogging and content, but at the minimum, your bio should sort of give the outline of what your promise is to that community. Sharla, were you going to say something?
yeah, you were talking about like the minimum of the bio. So if we have like minimum what needs to be on the website, what would you say like every website should include? Is like email signups, event lists, what like bells and whistles, obviously a bio.
Yeah.
What
So
else?
I think when you're starting, before you have the book, bio, picture, social media icons, like you want to be cross-marketing. Inbound and outbound links are important. Any outbound links to, things that are going to help build your authority on search. Maybe you don't have any, and that's fine. But if you do, like you're a faculty member at a university or you're whatever it is, um, we already said email sign up. And then contact form is you probably want to do that and have it go to a extra
Actual
Gmail
email.
address.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get so much spam. And then I would say your journey starts, right? And so that's the beginning. What we have built in Tertulia is all the components that we think that you need on top of that as you grow into your writing kind of coming out. And that is
And
your event.
we also have a question from Judy in the chat about, would you link to like the essays and things that you've published in magazines that
Yes.
aren't books? And absolutely. And I want to remind everybody, every time you publish an essay, not only do you want to link it on your website, you also want to turn that published essay into a PDF because when lit mags
Oh,
close,
right.
they don't message
Mm,
everybody to say, hey, our website is going down and all your stuff will be
a good point.
gone. So every time you get something published, save it as a PDF right away so that you always have it.
Yeah,
So
can
I
I
can
also
speak.
add to that? Sorry, Lynda. That I've been told that when you link into your bio things that you've published or on your website, make sure it's representative of you. Like make sure it's something you want. If people search and say, "Hey, I'm making an anthology. I'm going to look at your bio. I'm going to look at what you wrote." And if you want that to be the first thing that they see, link that, once you get like enough to choose from, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so I think that's a good point. The inbound and outbound links, I mentioned social or other websites. Clips and publications, if you have them, 1,000%. On Tertulia, what we did is we said, what are all the components of things you might need? You can turn them off or turn them on. Blog, turn it off or turn it on. Personally, I think by the time you're a few months out from writing, I think you commit to it. I mean, personally, I would say you do it every 2 to 4 weeks. Blog, events calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Custom pages. So we offer unlimited custom pages. This is where the infomercial kicks in. But the idea with custom pages is sample. Give people a sample of what, you mentioned show them
Yeah.
what you've been a part of. Well, like show them your writing. So sample of your writing, 1, 2, clips or previously published works. 3, signal. If you're a historical fiction writer and you aspire for every book club in historical fiction to read, do your discussion questions for your book on your custom page. So those are, this is the beginning of what you might include on your website, but it's custom pages to include those things depending what your goal is or the type of book that you do. And
And I
there was
want
a
to say
question I didn't
too that
answer.
Well, 1 second, we'll come on back to that. I want to say too that for authors who don't yet have a book deal, or who maybe haven't even published anything yet, think about your website as your virtual business card. It's where people can remember who you are. They remind themselves, oh, I met so and so at that writing conference. Now I'm going to go visit their website. Oh, they were the person I had a great conversation about their mother being an early LSD adapter with. I meant to get in touch with them. And so this is a way that you can keep yourself front of mind. Lynda, have you seen agents and editors react differently to authors who do or don't have websites?
I think if yes, I mean, I think with agents, it's like I actually like have I seen them react differently? I guess I can speak to it more on the author side trying to get an agent. It is like not a good conversation if you can't point them to anywhere about you because they're not going to have the time in the day. And I think with editors, maybe a little bit less so because I think editors stay a little bit more true to like, let's see the writing, but it's not going to get to them, right? Unless like you have a conduit where there's like a little bit of credibility and sort of like aura around it. So I think from a querying standpoint, we have a lot of people. I could offer some examples in the chat. Um, I could
I
try to
think
do that right
it
now.
helps
People
show
that are
that you
querying
are
that use the site.
it helps show that you are a real person, and it helps show that you are serious about doing this. Even if you are not going to be the world's most fantastic moderator out there or marketer out there, it does show, okay, this is a person who has had some thoughtful stuff to think about their book. They are committed to making this book happen and to bringing it into the world. So we've got a nice question in the chat here too, and I think it ties into what I wanted to ask you as well. So I wanted to ask, how does a website help a book get discovered by new readers who have never heard of the author? Like, will people search for you? And Karen also asks in the chat, any insights for middle grade authors creating a website that both caters to young readers and to gatekeeping adults who find themselves there? So who are you aiming your website at, and does it help you find new readers?
A website, it's like if a tree falls in the forest, does anybody know? Like if you make a website, is somebody going to find it? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they are. Are they going to Google you and find you? It's unlikely unless you already have an established presence on the internet and your inbound and outbound links are excellent, your search optimization. I would think of it more as this like hub and spokes of all of the activities and things that you do around your writing, your community, and your marketing to bring them together to efficiently like consolidate your work and your relationships. So that's to say, maybe you kind of hate social media. Like, of course, your social media, you want to bring people back to sign up for your newsletter. That's like, 101, right? Because you're going to have that direct relationship, as Allison said at the start of this meeting, that, you want to own that relationship, of course. But let's say you kind of hate social, but you do go to a writers conference two times a year, and you do join the local library. And let's say in the case of middle grade writer, you do school visits. Put your school visits on your site. Explain how they can set it up. Do a video if you're allowed to show a video of the school visit. Show a list of all the places that you've done school visits. Show, the benefits of having a school. Show the librarians how they can get your book. Do a librarian media kit. So you could do all these things that are specific to your book. And so would I say that somebody discovers you through your site? If you're lucky. I would say more likely you become memorable and sticky through your website, and you give people a reason to read you. You give people a reason to know you. Does that answer?
I think so. I think so. And I also want to follow up on that. Rebecca Morrison is a middle grade author. She's with us here, longtime member of our community. Rebecca also has some information about Q&As, resources that relate to you. And my overall perspective on that is you want to aim for the grown-ups because it's grown-ups who are buying the books. If you are writing middle grade, if you are writing picture books, if you are writing anything for people below the age of 16, aim for the people who actually purchase those books, and that is educators, librarians, and parents.
Yeah.
put some stuff on there that like, oh, hey, maybe they can also download this lovely reading guide and share it with their child or with their school.
Coloring pages.
Yeah. But kids are not searching the web to find
No.
a new book. Kids are watching YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're not looking you up on the internet, for sure. So what do you think is the biggest mistake authors make with their websites, either in what they are building or maybe in never building one at all? What is your take on that?
Not building one soon enough. That's one.
Mm,
Two, I would say that's the biggest mistake because it's like really bummer when you have put your life, like blood, sweat, and tears into your book. You come out and then you're like, oh, you're scrambling, right? Because you haven't, it's disappointing. So I think not doing it soon enough is one. I would say there's a few cascading other mistakes that totally understandable that like people can make. One is
I
not
found a, sorry, go ahead, Linda, and then I've got one for you too.
I would say not updating it is a huge mistake. And this doesn't mean you have to give updates daily or even weekly. But I can't stand it when I see an author I love, and like well-known authors, and I go to their site and I'm kind of like, I'm a super fan. And I'm like, what? Their new book is like literally not even on their site yet. And it's coming out next month.
mm,
It's crazy. It's like such a lost opportunity. And also, like, I mean, depends what you're trying to do. But if you're like trying to query, like, you should definitely be updating. Like, show the world what you're up to. Show them how you're able to develop an audience and you're out there in the world, like making an impact with your work, right? So not updating enough. And then I would say just like design world, like we're living in a design conscious world, right? We're living in a world of like, you know, um, video, if you have it, it's like nice. Doesn't have to be video, but like, make sure your photo is high res. Just like kind of basic things that are like,
And
you're not
I
giving pride to
I
your.
saw a weird little tick and I've seen it 3 times now and I have not previously seen it. So I'm wondering if it's some like, oh, I got to have my privacy kind of thing. I am also the editor of the Brevity blog, and we take guest essays. And because I am kind of a last minute Lucy, very often I am going, oh, this essay is great. It doesn't need any edits. I am due to post a piece by 7 a.m. Eastern time. It is now 6:39. Copy, paste, bing, 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 go. Now, sometimes people forget to include their headshot, which means that I go over to their website so that I can right click on their headshot, download that sucker, and put it up. I have seen authors who are like, well, why did you use that headshot? I don't like that one. Then don't put it on your website. Don't put it on the
Totally
internet.
agree.
I have seen recently 2 different websites where I could not right click and download the photo. It was like privacy protected in some way. And I couldn't right click and copy their bio off their website. One key thing that your website does for you when you are at the stage of getting reviews, when you are at the stage of publishing essays to support your book or to promote the cause that your book is going to be about, you need a place where people who want to promote you and are working at the last minute can instantly grab the very best stuff that you have already created to promote yourself with. Now, I don't know why they made it not capturable. I just screenshot it and then I had to laboriously retype the bio. But go ahead and make sure that your stuff that's on there is stuff that other people can use when they want to promote you.
mhm, mhm.
So,
1000%.
Lynda, we've established you got to have a website. Many people in our community, they have a site, but they aren't sure, do I need another page? Maybe they already have a page for their job as an accountant, but they're not sure if they need a separate site for their book. Those of us who are maybe a little bit further along, I think I have 8 websites, one for craft talks, one for my book, 7 Drafts, AllisonKWilliams.com, one for travel retreats, one for virtual retreats, one for Project Memoir, Project Novel, and Project Flex, each of which are my 8-week courses. Now, most of those are not a nerve center. They're a sales page for a particular thing. When should an author have everything on one site? When should something else go on a different site, like a different address, not just a different page?
Yeah, I mean, my take is that if it's informational, you probably want it together. If it's transactional, you probably want it separate. So, for instance, we have many authors who do manuscript coaching or editing on the side. That's like not exactly e-commerce, right? Like, I mean, they might have like a contact me if you want to learn more about my services. They might unpack that a little bit on their site. And they manage to usually do a link. They do a custom page with us describing that, and then they link from their bio to it too. But if you're doing transactional things, like you're running a coaching business where people need to sign up for a slot, or you are selling something. We are actually going to be rolling out merch very soon, but selling something besides books, I would say like you're probably marketing to a different group, right? So it's like, if you're transacting something to people that maybe not don't want to read your book, or you're selling your book to people that don't care about your job as an accountant, then maybe you want to think about that. And like, we have a lot of people with pen names, for instance, and like, well, I have multiple pen names. What should I do? And I'm like, you need a different website for them. Like, I'm like, for now, okay, you're testing out the waters. Do a standalone page with your other pen name. But at the end of the day, it's confusing to your audience. So I would just think of from your audience's perspective, what are they trying to get done? They're trying to transact something and it doesn't make sense for them there. You need a separate website. Or if it's confusing who you are, or it's going to dilute the experience of learning about you as an author, or, learn about your book. So it's
We've,
like every case is a little different.
yeah, Sharla, you got another question.
Yeah. So, um, well, I'm looking at the questions in the chat, so I'm a little distracted because I do have a lot of I'm a multi-genreist, so I also had these questions like where do you put the different genres? But I've just come to realize like for me I'm just all doing it the same page because my themes are the same. No matter what genre I'm writing in, the same things keep coming up. Um, but we have someone who is asking if you could talk a little bit about AI for creating websites. Does this something that you've come across? Does it
Sure. I mean,
generate?
you could vibe code a website these days, right? And this is something I, of course, watch very carefully because as a business owner, it's a, competitive, threat or whatever. But the thing is, you need to know what to do. Like there's like a thing called metadata, right? Metadata is the DNA of your book. Metadata is how your book gets discovered, literally, whether it's in AI or Amazon or through a librarian catalog. And so in our mind, the way that like I'll talk about what we do versus like building your website on in AI. What we do is we sort of are saying, okay, you shouldn't need to think about what's in or what's out for me, and you shouldn't need to think about how to design a blog. Like for instance, let me give you an example. We have a blog where you can turn comments on or you can turn comments off. You can also turn comments on with moderation if you want, or you can turn them off with moderation. All of those things are beautifully and elegantly presented to you as options through our very experienced product manager who has spent his entire career designing such interfaces. So, in my view, platform like Tertulia that is author specific is going to help you like be confronted with each of those cases. Like, what should my call to action be on my site? Like, should it be a banner or should it just be like a thin line? So we're developing this site, the event calendar, the blog, custom pages, the how do I do a, um, email sign up, a welcome email. We didn't talk that much about the email part yet. And you shouldn't have to think about that. So could you stand up a quick website on AI and buy a domain and attach it? It'll take you a little bit of muscle to figure out, but you can do it pretty fast. What you cannot do is e-commerce, right? Like storefronts are still a thing you have to grapple with and figure out which storefront to work with and how to connect it to your bank and all of that. So for any of you in the house who are actually selling anything, um, at this stage, I wouldn't really recommend, unless you want to spend quite a bit of time on it, doing it on AI. If you're just standing up one simple page, sure. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, yeah, it's getting more and more sophisticated. There's a lot of interactions that you can just like, if you're good at prompting and you know exactly what you want, you can build. But
Right.
if you don't know exactly what you want and you don't want to be grappling with those hard decisions, two, or three, in terms of metadata, you are going to copy and paste all that stuff in there. So if you have like multiple books, you have to package your content, you have to figure out how to structure it so it's SEO, you have to think about like what the tagline, like what the different title pages should be, and like all that stuff, there is an art to it. So could you do it in AI and prompt the AI to do it? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you got to be really thoughtful about what you're trying to achieve with that
Right.
and prompt it in the right way. So I hope that answers.
Yeah, I think it helps. I mean, I think AI feels like a shortcut until it's not. That's a big headache. But okay, so if you're choosing between do-it-yourself builders like Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, versus an author-specific tool like the one that you work with, what should authors consider?
I think if an author, like your question before, if you have another life as an accountant or whatever, that's one thought. So if you already have a site, or your needs are maybe you're an artist, you're a visual artist, or you're a musician, like there's a lot of platforms out there where like maybe you're art for visual art forward and less book. I think if
Mm,
you are book forward, like if your purpose is, I want to show the world what my author profile is in my books, I think we do the best job of that. A book forward, like book specific software. If not, and you want to like highly immersive, video, background, that kind of thing, you might want to go with another solution. So that's first thought. The second thought is like time you want to put in. Like some of these platforms, WordPress is famous for it. You could be extraordinarily customized. So we have some authors that are just plain vanilla out of the box Tertulia, they're done, like they want something simple. There's other authors that spend a lot of time on these like banner backgrounds and they put a lot of imagery on their sites. But if you want to go like really wild and you want something extremely custom, you could do that on WordPress. It's going to take you time. So, I'm biased, obviously, like I'm building this company for a reason because I think that it should be easy for you, it should be
mhm,
customizable, and it should be
mhm.
simple and affordable. So I think as an author, like we check all the boxes of the things that you're going to need. If you, um, I mean, like the very few people that leave for another, I mean, people leave maybe because they're done with promoting their books, but very few authors have left to go to another website builder.
So, Lynda, I've given you co hosts so that you can share screen, and I've messaged you with a couple of author bios and ISBNs from people here in our community. Um, my sites are a mix of HTML and WordPress sites that are built with Elementor. My husband is also my live-in IT professional, and it takes us anywhere from 6 hours to a week to put up a new site. Now, the reason I asked Lynda to be here today is because about 4 weeks ago, I demonstrated Tertulia in a workshop, and I had never tried it before. I heard about it from Jane Friedman. And it took like 6 minutes to get a basic website up. And I feel like we should demonstrate that. So Lynda is going to do share screen and start that process. And I'm going to just skim over a couple more questions in the chat. We've had a lot of questions about linking your Substack, linking your blog. You're going to be able to embed a blog in whatever website process you use, whether that's WordPress or Tertulia or Squarespace or Wix or something else. Generally, it is better to post separate things to Substack and to your blog, or to wait anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months before you post the duplicate so that people aren't getting the same material from multiple systems and going, wait, didn't I just read this before? So it's not quite as simple as post the exact same material at the same time in two different places, but do recycle your material. And if you've been blogging for a while or Substacking for a while, it can be really useful to go back. Anything that's more than a year old, nobody remembers it. So if you're having a week where you're like, hey, I really need to do a website or really need to do a blog post this week, and I don't know what to write about, or I'm not feeling it, go back to something you wrote a while ago, revise it a bit, brush off the cobwebs, update any links, and post it again, because chances are really good nobody is going to remember it from the first time around. That's the nice thing about blogs. They're a bit ephemeral. We get to share what we want to share with no gatekeepers, reaching directly to our readers, and nobody can stop us. Lynda, will you show us what is it like to build a website on Tertulia?
I will. I will do that. Okay. Everybody sees my screen, right? What you are seeing is our landing page, authors.tertulia.com. If you decide, this is important, if you decide you want to try this, use Allison's link. Use Allison and Sharla's link because you will have a discount embedded. It's very important because you can't go back later. We don't do promo codes. We do very, very little discounting. We're like already intentionally pretty cheap. What you're seeing on this page is this landing page, authors.tertulia.com. And you put in your ISBN. You can optionally put in your Instagram handle. And Allison just passed me this ISBN in the chat. And you're going to hit see your website. Now, there was a link below I should have shown you if you don't have an ISBN for what you do. But as you can see, the sausage is being made here. We are importing the data from Eliza's books. So I'm going to put in I'm going to claim Eliza's website. We can always send it back to you, Eliza, but this is just a fake email. So I could claim her page.
And as you sort out the confirmation code, Lynda, we've had a couple of people want to know, can they switch their website from another site to Tertulia? Yes. Okay, yes, it can 100%. Be moved over. Yep, 100%.
Probably the majority of our people have done that, like many, many, many. I can talk about that. It's super easy to do. Okay, this is the beginning. You can always go back and change this theme later. Super sorry, to answer your question even more so, Allison, if you're coming over from another site, just build out your site. We deal with the domain at the end. You can easily deal with your domain at the end, and I'll show you how that works. So we'll just go with something kind of simple here. This is the beginning draft. Everything is customizable. Eliza's logo can be changed. Her colors can be changed. The buttons can be changed. The layout, the modules, etc. She doesn't have a picture because I didn't put her Instagram in, but we'll add one. You can see how it looks with black. Okay, let's go with the white though. I think that's nice. We're going to continue with this theme. And what you're seeing here is kind of a traditional like backstaging CMS type area. Over on the left, you're seeing
Lynda, for those of us who are first timers, what does CMS stand for?
Content Management System. So it's your editor. It's your little editor area, your admin area, your account area, okay? So what you're seeing on the left is all of the things you can change and do, like content. And I'll walk you through it. Blog, custom pages, email sign up. And what you're seeing at the top is this preview site. So you can toggle back and forth to editor, to live site, editor to live site, okay? Now we're back in the editor. And first thing what we'll do is we're going to go to her author profile. And we're going to replace her author. We're going to put a picture of her up there. I just grabbed it on the internet. And what type of, is this historical fiction?
This is historical romance, and it is clean romance, what we sometimes call closed door romance. The couple has a beautiful, meaningful moment, and then they close the door, and you don't see anything that happens after that. So they are beautiful, clean romances.
Romance behind closed doors, we'll say for now. Okay, and then she'd put in her bio here. Often we pull in the bio because the bio is connected to the metadata in the publisher's database or in the Ingram Spark or Amazon database. In this case, it was not, which is fine. We would just cut and paste it in there. And then the social links, we could just add them, Eliza, and then we'll add her Facebook, Eliza. I'll just do this for demonstration purposes, her LinkedIn, whatever you've got. So let's say for now we want to click over and we see we put up her social icons, we put her tagline there, we put her picture, but we want to change the picture. So, well, I'll come back to that. So first the first thing you do is you just populate your site. You've got your books showcase. Look at that. Look at how many books she's written. Very prolific author. We have pulled them all in. It's magic. And her reviews, if she has reviews in her metadata, they will be there. If not, she could pop them in. And they get appended automatically to her page. Best part is retail links, automatically populated. So I love that. She has so many books. That's so impressive. Let's see, does she have series? If she has series, she might need to group them. It looks like she has a Cowboys series. So often these are pulled together through Amazon or through Ingram. If not, Cowboy clean romance. I don't know what it's called, but just for demonstration purposes. And we're going to grab these. We're going to add them. We're going to put it in 1. Cowboys Pursuit 2. Cowboys Mission 3. Now we're going to go back over to preview the site. And we're going to see that she has a series here made for her. Ooh, this covers are awesome. So this is the beginning of populating her books and her content, but the design is really where we get to the fun stuff. Okay. And the design can be, of course, the top part, you've got your color, your fonts. I'm going to make a customized color. We're going to make it maybe a little kind of pink color.
And if you've asked a question in the chat, I have been scrolling back and answering questions. So you might also take a look and see if your question has been answered. As Lynda tweaks colors here, let me just add for people with questions. It is useful to have both a newsletter and a blog on your website. The reason to have a blog on your website is because it helps search engines find you. And if people are looking for your topic, they may find you through a search engine or through an AI engine. So it becomes really useful. Very often we talk about what's called pillar content, which is what do you really want to be known for? Write a couple of blogs that are about the key things you want to be known for. So for example, Eliza Harwell could write, why I love writing a romance for every holiday. And so then someone who is searching, I want a Valentine's Day romance, might come to that blog where she's listed her 5 favorite Valentine's Day romances. And also, by the way, here's mine. You should buy mine now. We had a great question as well about should you put all your essays, and this kind of piggybacks on Judy's question now for Jody, who is writing essays but not planning to publish a book. This is a place where readers come to your website, they read one essay and they go, oh, wow, I love this person's work. I would like to read more. And now they can find them. Jackie has asked, her husband just self-published a children's book on Amazon. Should he do a website or Substack? My answer is do a website, because Substack is not where the readers of children's books are hanging out looking for their next children's book. It just doesn't have that vibe. Tertulia versus Squarespace, asks Paula. I can tell you it's significantly easier to do the Tertulia site. Squarespace, though, also has a significant amount of plugins, and there are some more sophisticated things that you can do with Squarespace. So it's definitely worth investigating and comparing. Can you just have a blog on your website, asks Wendy, or would you just send an email newsletter? More people will read it when it comes in their email, but if you then wait a couple weeks and post it on your website, strangers will find you while searching. And Sherry asks, for fiction authors, should you include nonfiction if they were for a whole different market? It's worth it to put it in a little section of, I've also published this, this, and this, because if editors and agents are looking for you, it means that they're seeing, oh, wow, this person has a record of putting together pieces that are finished that other gatekeepers have decided they would like to have. Lynda, what else do you want to add for us about this?
I have just been, thank you. This are all great points. I've just been kind of playing around here, adding things. I mean, this color combination is kind of ugly, but you get the idea that it is like, could not be easier. So,
Yeah.
if we pulled in all of her book, so all the data's there. Now you get to have the fun part and you arrange it how you want to. You make a grid, you make a banner, you set up a banner with a background image with, hearts or whatever's on theme for you. You want a book club discussion guide, boom, you just put it right in and we put it at the top of your navigation. You want to have a blog, you want to start your first blog, look how easy this is. Like, could not be easier.
Now we have questions about analytics. Are those included?
They are included, and if you sign up for the Pro subscription, I'll show you in a second, you get advanced analytics. So I can talk about the different subscription types in a minute.
Lynda, is it better to have a single page website that you scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, or a website with multiple pages? Marisa says she's been seeing an awful lot of the scroll, 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 scroll web pages lately.
You know what? That had that was like a trend. That was like a moment, and I think it's fine. It really depends what you're trying to do. We really believe, like our product team and I really believe that there's still a room that you go into for a certain type of content. and that the scroll is something that you get lost in. Like I go to author pages, and it's like I want to easily navigate. Like there's a reason why menus and navigation were designed the way that they are, so that you can easily find them, whether it's a little hamburger on your mobile, and you click and you say book clubs, that's how I get to sign up for her book club, or contact me. I'm a big believer in that. We went through this trend with, swiping and scrolling because everybody's kind of glued to their phones. But I think even on mobile, I'm a believer that you want kind of navigation to different things that you want people to do on your site. So I guess it's a
Right.
taste thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And let me ask one more question. We're nearing the end of our time here. So I think, Lynda, show us any last things you want to show us, and then we'll zap
Yeah.
out of share. Um, do you offer any help or support, or is this something where it really is designed to be the author, and if they need help, they're going to need to hire their own help?
We have the best author relations customer service team in the business, like hands down. Read our Trustpilot scores. Like it's the best. And we really believe in that because we know, like, partially, I just have a team that's like awesome. And like, there's a writer on my team, there's another one who's like a big reader. So it's partially this, like, they're in this business because they love what we're doing. Partially, it's because it's great business, because we know that writers are not going to like turn off people don't really turn off their websites unless they die, to be honest. Like, I know this from, executives at Squarespace. Like, there's an ego, and this is my life online, and we want them to thrive and succeed. If we help them to make their websites better and to reflect their work and their author profile better, they are going to stay with our company, right? So it's partially that too. So yes, the support includes connecting a domain. For some reason it didn't work, or Wix won't let me change the name servers on my DNS settings. We jump in there and we help you out. Like super, super helpful. I don't know what to do to grow my mailing list. So we also do calls like this with, I think you've been on, Allison, um, with um, with office hours with special guests, and with um, expert panels and author panels and that kind of thing. So we really are into education and enabling and empowering authors. And to the things that I didn't show, I'm just popping up like a very primitive email template, but this is how incredibly easy our emails are. I mean, you could throw your logo on the top, drag it in, you can change the background, the colors, you just start typing right here. So if you want to start your email newsletter, it could not be easier. And then the other thing I didn't show is, of course, commerce. So for those of you who are selling directly, the only thing we're not doing is POD, print on demand, or fulfillment. You can sell your ebook directly, you can sell your audiobook directly. Um, and in terms of our team's support for that, like super, I couldn't connect my Stripe account. I don't know why. Well, like maybe you put the wrong currency in, or, so we help with that too.
I
So
love
yeah,
that.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
Lynda, thank you so much. In just a moment, we are going to share with you our top tips of what you can do today to get yourself closer to a fantastic author website. But first, let us remind you, join us at Craft Talks. I've got a webinar coming up with Craft Talks, the rules of writing that you do not have to follow. We have some wonderful nature writing webinars and seminars coming up. And I'll also be teaching a webinar for HippoCamp, which is a newsletter deep dive. And I believe there's about 10 spots left on that. We have shared with you a Tertulia discount, and we will also pop that into next month's Writer's Bridge newsletter as well. Lynda, how long is that discount good for?
I think I put it through August.
Awesome. So it'll be good through August. So, please do go ahead and use that. And you can check it out for free without signing up too. So, and that's
Totally.
generally true with most website things. We have a lot of specific questions about Tertulia. Those are definitely things where go try it out, see how it works, get in touch with them. And Sharla, will you post the discount link in there one more time as well so that everybody sees it? We want to encourage you guys, if you are watching the replay here, please forward this replay to a writer friend. And as the kids say, like and subscribe. Bink. Join us next month when we will be talking to Rachel Thompson of Bad Redhead Media about PR strategies for both new and experienced authors, what you can do to build community, increase your visibility, and get your book out there. So, top tips. Sharla, what is your top tip today?
Um, Yes, my advice, don't expect to have it all right out of the gate. Doesn't mean it has have to be a perfect website, though it seems like Tertulia makes it look pretty darn perfect. But it does mean to try, get something up, leave room to learn and change your mind. Case in point, I almost shut down my personal website last month. It just isn't pulling much weight anymore. Then a month later, I needed a page for my in-person events that are happening in Pittsburgh, including one that's coming up August 14th. If you're curious, I'll drop the Eventbrite link in the chat. But I'm glad I didn't pull the plug. It turns out not doing enough work right now and not worth keeping are two different things. So now it's working for me.
Lynda, what is your top tip for us? What should we do to be in a better website position moving forward?
It is such a like nerdy word, but metadata. Think about the packaging of your book. You know, you've put your heart and your soul into your book, and I get it. You're like, here it is. But that's not going to help you, right? You need to give people a way into it. Think about the themes very carefully because it's going to, over time, and this is like, it will evolve, right? But over time, the BSAC code you choose, the themes that you choose, the way you talk about it, the cover you choose, and not doing an AI cover, like all of that packaging and that metadata, don't just tick it off the list. Think deeply about how you expect somebody to discover it. And the reason it's relevant to your website is, of course, all of that's front and center in your website. But in our case, you're kind of you're importing that stuff. Doesn't mean you can't change it later. And depending what type of publisher you have or what type of platform you have, you can. But it's yeah. Thank you for defining that. It's the DNA around your book, and take it seriously.
Yeah. One of the things that I love doing is go to Amazon, search for your own book as if you have forgotten the title, right? Memoir about whatever, and see what
Great
pops up.
advice.
What do other authors say about their books? What do other publishers say about their books? And my top tip for today is don't get bogged down. Should I connect my Substack? Should I do Substack first and a website second? Do I need to change my existing website? Pick one thing and move forward on it. Trust that you can always catch up with the other stuff later. It is better to take a small step forward than to be paralyzed with no steps. Thank you all so much for joining us today at the Writers Bridge. We are always so glad to have you here in our community. Please unmute yourselves for a joyful goodbye.
Bye,
Thank you.
y'all.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Linda.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much for having me.
Bye. Thank you.
Have a great day,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yay.
Bye.
Okay, kí n ti kúrò nísìnyí.